you got the 38 Dawson Road.
Get some Verizon workers working over here in the street.
Bravo 913 Ocean Aura, good evening. Good evening.
Bravo 832.
832.
Ma'am, the witness here is
No, I'm just documenting what I see in the city.
We have a unit over there to see if they can
I'm
see a blood trail.
document what I see in the city. Well, since I'm talking to a Verizon technician, no, you move along. We're not moving nowhere. We're in public, buddy. We're in public. Say it again. I can't hear what you're saying.
45 Center Street.
I can't hear. I cannot hear. I cannot hear what you're saying. You're talking too low.
You don't have to film us.
Well, I do have to film you if you're in public because I got to see what's going on in the city of Boston.
You can just ask us.
What are you doing then?
Well, why don't you shut your camera off?
No, tell the people. Tell all the people what's going on.
All right.
I mean, there should be no secret if it's public information, right?
It's not secret.
So what are you doing?
Work there. You can shut your camera off.
Okay, I got a question for you since there's no secret. Why is Verizon cutting elderly people's service off even though they pay their bills?
Nobody's cutting anyone's service.
Trust me, it has happened. I know about it. It happened to my mother. So don't tell me it didn't happen. What Verizon is doing, Mighty Walsh brought Verizon in with fiber optics, and it was some deal he cut with Verizon. And the elderly people that have the old copper wire and have the old dial-up service are losing their service if they don't switch over to fiber optics. Now, that's the truth. I know of several people who have that service cut off. They're saying it's not cut off. I know for a fact that it's being cut off. If you don't switch over your old copper wire to the fiber optic system that they want you to have, even though your bill's in good standing, you can have your telephone service for the last 50 years, and Verizon just comes up and cut your service off. Now, you can talk to all the elderly people that you know. That is exactly what they're doing. Now, these guys are not responsible for doing that, but Verizon itself is. Now, if you're going to work for the public or in the public sector, you have to expect. There's no expectation of privacy in public. Same way as we got traffic cams, dashboards all around the city of Boston. It's all part of the First Amendment. Now, if people, I'm serious. If people don't know this by now, then I'm sorry. I'm not gonna waste time and educate you on that because you should already know this. You should already know your First Amendment. You should know stuff. And like when I was growing up, we didn't have computers. We had to go in the library and read stuff. There's computers out there now, so there's a lot more stuff you can learn a lot faster and a lot easier. No excuse. Now, it doesn't make sense. You tell me when the camera's off, but you don't want to tell me with the camera on. I don't know. There should be no secret what you're doing. That right there is looks like a sump pump. Is that a sump pump? It is a sump pump. You pump the water out first. Now, if those of you who don't believe that I'm telling the truth about Verizon, you ask anybody in the city of Boston that has an elderly loved one, and they have the old, I'm talking about the old 9X or old Bell Atlantic system back in the day. It had transferred a lot of hands. New England Bell, My Bell, it went to a whole lot of services, but it's all the same old copper dial-up system. Now, people had that service for years, and predominantly elderly people, because most of us young people don't really have landlines. We have cell phones, so it doesn't really apply to us. But if you had a hard line or landline, what happened was they will cut you off if you didn't switch over to the fiber optics, and that's a proven fact. And I mean, I know people right now that are dealing with that stuff right this minute. They're threatening to cut your service off if you don't switch over to fiber optic. Now, this was in the middle of the pandemic, the first wave of the pandemic. And what happened was, I use my mother as an example. She's an elderly woman. She has a first alert that uses a dial-up service, telephone service. They cut her service off. And my brother and my younger brother, he's the one that raised enough cane to get that thing turned back on in less than 15 minutes. But it's the truth. They cut your service off, even if your bill's in good standard. So when people say I don't know what I'm talking about, trust me, I know what I'm talking about. And I know another elderly person that they did that in the Julia Martin house as well. And I know several other, I don't want to name all the names, but there's several elderly people that has happened to throughout the city of Boston. And you don't hear nothing about Mayor Wu saying anything about that because they don't care. It's all about money and greed. That's what it's about. One day we're going to do a story about Verizon, and let's see if we'll talk to some of the CEOs down there and find out what's really going on. And now I'm going to play devil advocate. I'm going to turn my camera off and talk to them over there and see what they have to say. And I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, because sometimes everything you're doing you don't want to say on camera. So that's what I'm going to do. So guys, catch you later. And there's Porter.